Hey guys, it's Rick, and for this week's game night we are playing Detective, a modern crime board game. It is a game for 1 to 5 players, where all the players work as detectives, trying to solve a crime. Now, if you watched our Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective video, this game works a lot like that, where all the players are on the same team, trying to solve the same mystery together. Now, this one takes about 3 to 4 hours, but it tells a very rich story that all the players are involved in, and their actions will unveil certain parts of the mystery. So the game itself is pretty simple, but solving the mystery may prove to be anything but. During the game, you will have a certain number of days in order to solve the mystery, and each day will be cut into a number of hours. And every action that you take will take a certain number of hours. You don't necessarily know how long something's going to take until you take that route. So for example, if you try to get a lab result on some fingerprints, that may take an hour, or something might go wrong, it might take closer to 3. And why that's a problem is if you go over time, you're going to start to accumulate stress tokens. If the team as a whole gets 7 stress tokens in the first case, it ends right there, and they have to solve what's called the final report, give what they think really happened in the crime. Otherwise, they can go to the limit for that particular case. Every case is a little different. In the first one, I think you have 4 days in order to solve the case. But at any point during that time, unless you've got 7 stress tokens, you can try to take all of your notes together and solve the final report. And that'll ask certain things. Now, this game has some pretty cool ideas in it that are different than Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. First of all, it has different locations that you can go to and leads to follow up. Most of these leads will work in the form of a deck of cards that you will draw. And those cards on them will have some text that may include further leads, but they also might have opportunities to go deeper into that particular clue. Maybe interrogate the witness a little more or follow up with some forensic investigation. That'll take the form of tokens that you start the game with some, and you can use each character's special ability to acquire more as the game goes on. Also, there is an online database specific for this game that you can make a free account for. You must use it in order to be able to play the game. It allows you to look up different people that are involved in the case, their profiles. Also, it allows you to take codes that are on some of the cards that relate to forensic evidence. For example, fingerprints or blood samples. And then you can match those up with other samples found at other locations or with fingerprints of the people that you're investigating. So it's a really interesting twist that makes you really feel like a federal FBI detective. So the game takes about 3 to 4 hours. It's the kind of game that you should take slow, go over all the clues, and really immerse yourself in the story. So we're going to try to do that, and let's see if we can crack this case.
Hello, I am Jack Coleman. I'm an investigator, a former cop. I've been in this business for a while, for my entire life actually. I'm an experienced cop, and I've seen it all. Part of my abilities in this game is when investigators write a report action, I can add 2 blue stars to the token pool instead of 1. All right, let's get into this case.
I'm Ben Harris. I'm an ex-FBI analyst. I'm just really excited about getting into this case and catching the bad guys. I'm really excited about what Antares can do for the criminal investigation community.
Name's Stone, Chris Stone. Used to be a PI in Virginia before I joined Antares. One of my abilities, I'm really good at digging in deep into investigating clues and things. So look for that as we continue this case.
I am Ricardo Roberts. Don't laugh! I am Ricardo Roberts, and I am the intern. I get the other guys coffee. I work the computer. I help them by spending an authority token to remove an X from their investigator.
Oh, yeah.
An ex-wife, I got 7.
I forgot to mention my special thingy.
Okay.
I mentioned mine like in a character kind of scenario.
Yeah.
It's just dig deep.
I spend 2 star tokens from the token pool and add 1 other little tiny token to the token pool. I don't know what it is.
I'd have to see it.
You'll get there, kid. You'll get there.
That is a wild token.
Oh, okay.
Joker.
A joker.
A joker.
Yep. All right. So this is a detective game,
Yep.
hence the title. So we're
I
going to
was
solve
not-
us a case.
Not prepared for this game today.
What's the title of the
I was
game,
not
Rick?
either.
The game is called Detective,
Oh, well,
a modern crime board game.
interesting.
Yes. So
You couldn't deduce that?
we are fucked.
I had photos.
All right.
I didn't look to them yet.
So I'm going to read this briefing. Take
Okay.
notes as you wish.
All right.
Anterra's headquarters, July 5th, 8:11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Blindwave Standard Time. The briefing room, located on the first floor of the newly built building complex, seems sterile. Light cream walls with glazed windows overlook the James River. A large white table, chromed handrails of black chairs, and a gray carpet fills the room. Despite being light and spacious, it lacks warmth. "Hello," says Delaware, as he rolls his wheelchair to the head of the table. He has a tired, wrinkled face. Long strands of gray hair fall over his piercing eyes. He places his green notebook on the table. "The task at hand is quite peculiar. Peculiar.
Peculiar.
Peculiar.
The State
That's it.
Department has asked Interrogating to investigate a potential scandal. A few days ago, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Poland sent a confidential note asking for clarifications of an unusual event. Earlier, in the Ying auction house, a pocket watch with a gold-plated bezel appeared. It turned out to be serious. The watch is in the database of objects lost during World War II. The Poles identified it as a showpiece that was looted by Germans from the Museum of the Land in Posen, Poland, during the occupation of Poland. For the Poles, it has both symbolic and sentimental value, as it was a memento of the great pianist Ignacy Paderewski. According to the data provided by the Poles, the watch was stolen by a Nazi named Kurz Blutzholz. Bluthholz.
Bluth. It's the blues.
Bluthholz. Sorry.
Bluthholz?
Yeah. Of course, you will find records about him in our database. He clears his throat, glances at his notebook as if he was trying to remember something, and then resumes his briefing. The auction house bought the watch for about $5,000 from a man named Rupert Owens, who apparently did not realize how valuable the item was. The watch is already secured in our evidence store. The matter is delicate. If this Bluthholz, by some strange stroke of luck, had lived after the war in the United States, it would have been very unfortunate for political reasons. At least that's what the current administration thinks. Worse yet, the press will begin to sniff around. It's only a matter of time before the issue turns into a scandal that I would very much like to avoid in the first year of this agency's operation. Our task is to find answers before someone finds questions. He looks over the briefing room, checks his notes, and sighs heavily. And finally, one very sad piece of information. The morning after tomorrow, at the Olivet Cemetery, Michael Slater's funeral will take place. As you know, he was one of the police consultants who helped create our unit. He was a victim of a hit and run, a nasty end to a perfect career in the police force. It would be nice if someone from our team could attend the funeral. We will gather at Richmond PD at 8 a.m. the day after tomorrow. From there, the police column will go to the cemetery. That's what we got.
I already have a sketch of the
Michael
enemy.
Slater?
Mike Slater.
Yeah.
Mike Slater.
This guy committed the crime.
You can't see it.
See?
Wait a minute.
There you
Take your hat off.
I was trying to draw Eric.
He doesn't have a beard.
Huh? Well, I didn't get that far. I ran out of time.
Not a very good artist.
All right, so
He shaved to hide his identity.
Yeah.
That's how we expect it to happen.
I've
Red
already moved the time marker to 9 a.m.
Okay.
and added 4 authority tokens to the token pool, which are the stars. The goal of the case: investigate the events leading up to the watch from Poland ending up in the Ying auction house. Discover all stages and find evidence to confirm them.
Okay. So, a German, Kurtz Kurz, whatever, he stole this from a pianist.
He
right?
was a Nazi in Poland.
Yeah.
And stole it from, I assume, a Polish museum
Ying
or
auction
something.
house.
No.
It
Oh,
was
it
sold.
showed
where
up.
it
It
showed
showed
up.
up there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, he stole it from the land museum in Posen, Poland, while he was there in the occupation, right?
Okay. And this was the pianist's
This was Ignacy Paderewski's watch, the pianist.
Patter whiskey.
Patter whiskey?
I will spell it.
I haven't.
Paderewski.
Okay.
We have 4 days to finish this investigation.
Okay.
The stress limit for this case is 7.
7.
So when we go into overtime, for every hour we go into overtime, we get a stress token.
Gotcha.
If we get 7 of those in total, we have to end the case immediately.
Okay.
So these are our further leads. We have access to Kurt's police files in the database. We have access to police files on Rupert Owens. We can go to evidence storage and check out the watch. We can interrogate Rupert Owens. We can interrogate the auction house owners. And on day 3, we need to put a number 1 token on day 3 to remind us that we can go to Michael Slater's funeral ceremony at 8 a.m.
Okay.
8 a.m.
At least one of us.
So can you take a number 1 and put it on day 3? So where do we want to start?
Well, it would probably serve us to actually get some insight on the evidence before we start hearing anybody's testimonies, right? Like, be able to examine the watch, I would say. That way we have kind of like a baseline on what they're saying, and we can compare it to what we know is fact and not.
Get all of our ducks in a row before
Yeah.
we
I would
start.
say maybe check out the pocket watch or check out the files of Owens and Kurtz.
Well, we can question Owens.
Yeah, but what I was saying is, like, if we can get some hard fact or information about him, and then when he questions him, we'd be able to detect if he's telling the truth, or if maybe something's not lining up with what we already do know, the facts.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, we definitely want to talk to the people at the auction house
Yep.
to be able to figure out
Yep.
information of how they got the watch and the process and what they did and how it
But
ended up where it
we can-
wasn't supposed to be. You know.
Yeah, we can check out the watch first. We're already at headquarters, so we won't have to travel there. Also, if we interrogate Rupert Owens, we can do that at headquarters. And anytime we access the database, we can just do it wherever we are.
All right. Well, let's do the headquarters stuff first, then, and
Yep.
go from there.
All right, so the watch is card number 103.
Here's the watch. 103.
Yep. It'll be in the top
Highland
right.
craftsmanship.
Or, sorry, top left.
Fantastic.
Take it out.
What?
Do I take it out, Rick?
Yeah. Take it out, read the front.
And terrace evidence storage is a huge hangar back from when the police station was still located here. The police station was moved and the evidence storage stayed. The agency pumped a ton of money into it, added a second hall, automated it as much as was possible, and rigged everything with the Interrogating computer system. You log into the system, enter the ID number, case number, and verification code, then immediately go to the virtual evidence storage. There are 2 items attached to the case. In the picture next to the watch, there is also a cigar box. The watch must have been kept inside of it. Where did it come from? Interesting. It's time to collect both of the items personally. The system informs you that you can collect both of them within 37 minutes from box 28. In section 2 of the magazine, you choose the SMS confirmation, and after a while, get a barcode to open the box. You log out of the system and quickly go to grab a bite at the Interrogating Cafe, a Greek salad, coffee, and bottle of water. You go to evidence storage. Read 121. That says 1 hour on it too, by the way. I don't know that.
So we need to move up an hour. And you can bring that closer to you, Calvin.
I really didn't want to go get lunch yet. I was pretty okay. I don't eat much.
That was more like a brunch, like 10 a.m. snack.
All right. Evidence.
Can I face this towards me?
Sure.
Evidence. Opened men's pocket watch. Description. Case body with 22 karat gold ornamentation, clear, poured, and polished glass, a crack halfway from 2 o'clock, porcelain dial, broken mechanism, spring-type Swiss inscription on the lid, God, Honor, Homeland, in Polish. Dimensions, weight 3.3 ounces, 94 grams, diameter 2.5 inches, 6.35 centimeters. Estimated value, $25,000. Mechanoscopic expertise, numerous scratches and slight dent at the hinges of the envelope. Then it has a little arrow, I guess, to flip over. For the cigar box, evidence. Description, wooden box, produced in 1940 by Dukes de Crecy, Decrecy. Good condition, in the middle, cardboard insert, lined with cotton, apothecary. Dimensions, 9.5 by 6 inches, 24 by 15 centimeters. Estimated value, $15. Mechanoscopic expertise. From the cotton wool and corners of the box, a series of micro traces of dirt and dust particles have been collected. Future leads. You can take the watch and the box to the laboratory to examine them and look for fingerprints.
Okay.
The issue with finding fingerprints, though, is that this was at the auction house, right? So there could be multiple people's fingerprints on it, right?
Yeah.
Depending on how they treated it.
Yeah. I mean, you could have 10 fingerprints. One of those could be the person that
It could
stole it, but
It could have been handled with cotton gloves, and in which case, those fibers would be on it, and also possible fingerprints could be wiped.
true.
Yeah.
But maybe we can also figure out what is this traces of dirt and dust particles. Maybe there's evidence there. Maybe not.
Try that.
Maybe it's just a loophole. Or
It
not a
might have
loophole.
been buried or
Wild
hidden
goose.
in an attic for a long period of time, which could be explained why it's taken so long to turn up.
So this took us an hour, right? Yeah.
It's going to take those lab boys all day to run anything, I feel like. So we better be sure. So here's what I have on Kurt Bluthos.
Where'd that name come from?
That's the
That
guy
was from
who-
the.
Kurt,
That's from the briefing, right?
yeah.
I was just making sure. I
That's
didn't remember reading this stuff.
That's the guy who stole the
Stole
watch.
the watch.
Yeah. Stolen by a Nazi.
That looks like James McAvoy.
Date of death, no data. Place of death, no data. Cause of death, no data.
Oh, jeez.
Identifying marks. Paresis of the left hand due to shrapnel wound.
Okay.
Not confirmed.
Paralysis.
No, paresis.
Paresis.
A tattoo of a spider above the right wrist. Not confirmed. Addendum. High-ranking German microbiologist and scientist. During the war, he conducted research on biologic weapons and transplants, experimented with using sarin to kill prisoners of the concentration camp Auschwitz.
Sarin gas.
Auschwitz.
Yep. Auschwitz. An international arrest warrant has been issued. Status unknown. Officially, he is still prosecuted by the Polish and Russian governments.
What year are we in?
This is modern day.
Okay.
Yeah, modern detective.
His criminal record.
I'm just making sure if he could be alive or not.
He's like 108.
So I was wondering. Because it says like death and cause. It doesn't know. But
Yeah.
I'm like, could he be alive? Do I need this spider thing on my notes?
Let's see. Criminal record. The Polish bill of indictment for the Nuremberg trials mentions him as one of the criminals, along with documenting the testimonies of witnesses. The document, over 100 pages long, contains the most important facts and documents regarding Nazi crimes in Poland against the Polish nation. The bill has been attached to the Soviet bill of indictment due to the fact that the Polish delegation could not formally partake in the work since the London Agreement of August 8, 1945, ensured only the representatives of the four powers, speaking on behalf of all nations, were present. Charges illegal carrying out of microbiological and chemical tests on Poles imprisoned in Auschwitz concentration camp and the prisoners of Fort 7 from Posen. 137 cases of experiments resulting in death were documented. Active participation in criminal organization, probable connection to the Otto Skorzeny's organization Spider. Further leads, seek out the assistance of historical consultant concerning Kurt, if we want to.
Gotcha. So what's the timeline of this watch? The watch was originally held by,
That's from Poland.
right? It was in Poland, and this guy
Yeah.
stole it from the guy in Poland, right?
Yeah,
He stole it from the museum.
From the
in
museum.
Poland.
Yes. So it
Possum.
was an artifact of a great Polish pianist.
Museum,
Yeah.
Poland. Stolen by Kurt, right? After that.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem is this guy's a known Nazi, and when it shows up here in America with Rupert Owens, who sells it for $5K, that means like, wait, is this dude here? This Nazi, this Nazi?
Sure.
And we're supposed to figure out
Yeah.
what happened before someone else figures out.
Has he been hiding in the
So
U.S.
the
this
timeline,
whole time?
the timeline we know so far is it was in the museum. Kurt stole it. Rupert ended up with it and then put it in the auction.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he got rid of it for $5K, where the thing's worth $25K.
Yep.
So he wanted to get rid of it quick. He wanted to dump it.
Or he didn't know what he had.
genuinely didn't know what he had.
True.
I'm not sure that a history consultant is necessarily
I
worth
don't.
our time.
No. I don't think knowing more about what we know about that guy is going to help us.
Not yet, no.
I mean,
But-
they don't know very much about him. I don't think anyway. So.
Until we find a solid lead on him.
It's something we can investigate at any time. if we
Rupert's
decide we
here
need
now,
it.
right?
Yes.
we can question
We
him.
can interrogate him.
I think we should. Yeah.
We can also check out his file, too.
We should put him through the ringer.
Yeah, let's check out his file first before
Yeah.
we interrogate him, I think.
Yeah, that'd be good.
We don't have time for this.
It doesn't cost time. I'm just reading.
Jesus.
Jesus.
Rupert James Owens. Date of birth, 1959. Place of birth, Richmond, Virginia. Height, 5'5". Eyes, blue, hair dark. And I will put in his fingerprints. So we have his fingerprints in the...
Okay.
So we really don't have much on his file.
That's all we got.
There's no like previous.
Aliases.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
There we go. Criminal record.
My bad. Criminal record. He was arrested May 20th, 1979 for possession of illegal drugs. It was the 70s. Who wasn't? Sentenced to 6 months in prison. Arrested June 20th, 1986 for drug dealing. Sentenced to 2 years in prison. Arrested May 13th, 2011 for indecent exposure and breach of the peace. Sentenced to a fine and community service. Arrested on March 15th, 2012 for causing a traffic accident while under the influence, damaging public property, a fire hydrant. Sentenced to 3 months of community service, fined $2,000, and directed to a mandatory treatment for drug and alcohol addiction.
All right.
So the guy seems to be a drunk or a junkie. He could just be hawking this thing, trying to get as much money as
Like I
he
said, the
can.
assumption of this could be that he got his hand on this watch, knows it's worth something, doesn't sell it for anywhere near it's worth, just to get
So we
money
need to know
now.
where he got it.
Okay.
We got to work backwards.
So let's talk to him.
Okay, he is number 108.
Move us ahead 3 hours, Calvin.
Okay.
Owens is already waiting outside the conference room. He refuses to start the interrogation without his lawyer present. The lawyer arrives late and gives you the business card of Weber and Son for some reason. You invite them inside. They both seem to be extremely agitated. You plug the laptop into the room's system and log into your account. You turn on the interrogation mode, and the first of the screens that take up the entire wall turns on. Entire wall. This is amazing technology. Love it.
Damn.
Yeah. It's fully automated.
Real quick, in his file, known connections, it has his mother and father listed. Marcus Owens and Lily Garrett. It's probably not relevant, but
Okay.
go on.
There are several pop-up windows, the largest of which is the stream from the camera. Another is vibrating with the audio amplitude, and the third one is full of text. You point to the screen. I inform you that our meeting is being recorded. Additionally, our system will prepare a transcript of the meeting. You switch to the case screen and point to the image on your laptop to the second screen on the wall, magnified 100-fold, is Owens' police file and the mugshots from his arrests. You skip over a dozen documents on him. Horrified, Owens shrinks in his chair. Finally, the photo of the golden watch appears on the screen. Okay, you say, looking carefully at Owens. Could you please explain how you found yourself in the possession of a watch that was stolen from Poland in World War II. Read questioning at 108, and it says press Owens further. Do I need to pay something?
At the bottom?
I don't know, just whatever this stuff is.
Okay. So we have to do read questioning at 108, which is on the laptop. We can also, after we do that, choose to spend a token to press him further.
Okay, so let's
So let's
He
do the
hasn't said
questioning.
shit.
Well, also his dad is interesting. So his dad died in prison, being stabbed by an unknown prisoner. He was arrested in 1966 for fencing,
Ooh.
fined, and released.
He's a sword fighter. Yeah.
That was not worth the glasses.
He was suspected of being accomplice to a robbery, and we have a case file here. Charges dropped due to insufficient evidence. Sentenced to 8 years in prison with possibility of parole for being accomplice to a car theft, handling stolen goods, resisting arrest, and failure to obey a police order.
So his dad was a criminal too.
Yeah, we can get evidence on his robbery, but it'll cost us time.
All right. Well, let's press not press Owen, but let's read the questioning at 108.
Okay. During the interviews, there will be either LSL, MSL, or HSL for their stress level. It's how likely they are to be lying.
Okay.
Okay.
So high, medium, and low
Yep.
stress levels.
So everything he says here
Let's-
to begin with is medium stress level. The watch must have been my father's, Marcus, medium stress level. I found it more or less a month ago when I was tearing through the old house under the porch. I was pulling away the floorboards when I saw something underneath. It was an old metal can, and inside there was a box. In that box, I found the watch. I got excited and thought it would solve my financial problems, medium stress level. I Googled someone who dealt with this kind of stuff, asked around a bit, and went to sell it. I have no idea where my old man got that watch. See, I was still a kid when that son of a bitch left me and Mom. I remember being so happy, it was actually a blessing. My old man was a horrible jackass. He beat my mom. His friends weren't any better. He always was a coward. You know, the type that is always in the shadow of someone bigger. The kind of guy that sucks up to people. Like, oh, I got it. Like Frito Corleone, medium stress level. I can't remember any of his friends' names, though. They were never at the house. Always at a bar, drunk. I do recall one of them had a scar on his face, as if someone put a cigar out on it. He was as short as my pops. I think his pops was 5'5". I think he had dark hair. They were always drinking together and did some business. Dark alley crooks, all of them. That's all I remember. It was a long time ago. The evening before his arrest, he came home wasted. I remember that because they were airing the Mariner 5, launched then. We all wanted to be astronauts in those days. Light stress level. He started yelling at my mother, then suddenly gave her a pendant and some money. As an apology, I guess. Then he pretended to go to work on the porch. I think he left before midnight. I didn't ever want to see that bastard again. I have no idea who snuffed him in jail, and I don't care. He deserved it. I think it was right before that he sent a letter to Mom about needing something. He said there was something big happening. He could make a lot of money. Mom was so upset she burnt the letter. Light stress level. The years after his death were good until Mom died when I was about 20. Hit me real hard. I went down a slippery slope. I ended up behind bars. I don't know what he was talking about in that letter. Even the cops didn't ask about it. They might have spoken about it with Mom at the police station. That's all I know. Light stress level.
Okay, so he found it under his porch. His dad, who was previously arrested for fencing.
And burglary.
Mm-hmm.
So his dad might have either come across it in his business or by the theft. Or burglary, rather.
So we will have to go into the father.
I mean, there could be mild lies maybe on how he actually
Came
acquired
across it.
the
Yeah.
watch itself, but most
Yeah.
of it seems to be legit. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he found it in the cigar box, right?
He found
Yeah.
it in a metal
I
can.
mean, it may
was
not
in a
have
can-
been.
That box was in a can.
It may not
Yeah.
have been in, under the porch in a can in a box, maybe. Like, maybe there's some mild lying there, but maybe not anything that's...
Like if it was in a metal can under the porch, it probably wouldn't have as much dirt and dust particles on it as it does.
Unless that's some sort of biological weapon that the Nazi was working on in that
He
box.
was working on sarin gas from the rock.
Sarin.
So we can press him further if we want to continue to interrogate him.
Sarin gas.
I'm not sure how much more he'll be able to give us, though. It seems like his dad is...
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
More of
he
a
didn't seem like he knew anything about this in terms of its profit, which is what that was his main motivation for selling it anyway. If he knew anything more, he'd probably get more than $5,000.
Can we ask him specific questions,
I don't think so.
or is it just kind of?
We can interrogate him more by
Okay.
turning over the cards, spending more time.
That was 3 hours.
I mean,
3 hours, yeah.
yeah. Rupert Owen, he was born in 1959, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, he's an older guy. But his dad...
His dad was
that's gonna go
born
closer
in
to the
1930.
40s. So going into his dad might get us closer to the Nazi.
Yeah, but he's dead, so how can we...
I mean, we can see his file more, right?
We can look up the incident date on the robbery, which was 1967.
67. So that's,
I mean, also, what's this big thing that he was trying to tell Owens' mom?
Yeah, about
Like there's
the
this
money.
big thing going on, and he dies in prison.
I mean, time-wise, it easily could match up with the Nazi, right? Like,
Yeah.
he wouldn't necessarily have to be dead by then.
Sure.
Came over to the U.S., met up with this guy at some point,
Yeah, could have been one of his friends.
you know.
I hate working cold cases.
Yeah.
Can't punch anybody. That's
Exactly.
one reason I'm still in this business. You ever punch someone, rookie? Sorry.
I was wondering if you were gonna ask her that.
Sounds like
Like-
a straight-laced rookie, like,
Yeah.
by the book. Guys, we can't do that.
So the if we want to look into the robbery data more, it's card 105. We can interrogate him further, but I think that's a waste of time.
I kind of feel like it might be as well. I feel like there might be mild lies, but I don't think it's going to be any lies that are so drastic they change the case for us.
Yeah, we can also head over to the auction house, but again, I'm not sure.
The issue with that is if it has to do with his father, I don't think the auction house is going to know anything about the father.
Yeah, I mean,
Right?
maybe a
But-
description of the guy who sold it to him.
Our
but-
goal of the case is to investigate the events leading up to the watch leaving Poland and ending up in the auction house.
Like, our points are like, so right now we need to figure out how Rupert got it. That's the main thing. We know
Yeah.
Rupert took it and sold it to the auction house.
Right.
Right?
Well, we know how Rupert. Well, we assume why Rupert got it, but how did his father get it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we need to try to dive into even further back.
Now, it said he...
And as Ricardo said, cold cases are terrible.
Yeah, they are. It's like cold sandwiches.
Right?
Ooh.
except
Or they have a melt.
Cold coffee.
like an Italian sub where it's meant to be cold. Jeez, Aaron.
Trying to give up smoking.
Chris.
I go through so many
Like
things
my
these days.
coffee like I like my wives. Dark, hot, and bitter.
I have nothing.
You didn't say the joke. Come on. You don't get just to put that on.
And yeah, we all laughed. So it was a joke.
All right. Well, should we dive more into the father? What other leads do we have that we can
Yeah,
utilize?
I feel like we need to find out more about Marcus.
I mean, we're going back in time with this, and we have to go with the father to be able to follow the trail, right?
It seems that way.
I mean, we.
All right, let's try to learn about this robbery, and then figure out where to go from there. Maybe.
We find out the file or case number.
Maybe
about
the robbery might have some information about a
robbery.
guy with Perseus hand and spider on it or something.
Maybe.
You know, like some witness accounts or something.
Sure. Let's check it out.
See how much longer it's gonna take us. Oh, we grabbed 105.
Yeah,
don't we?
105.
Yep.
All right. So let's see what it says here.
How many hours?
3 hours.
Damn it, Aaron.
I'm sorry.
All right.
So this
That
is
is-
So-
Marcus.
This will be the last of the day unless we go
This
into
will be
overtime.
the last of the day. Yeah. Okay.
The rain starts to annoy you, but what irks you even more is that some stickler did not want to mail the scans, so you had to go down to get them personally. You reach the precinct, entering the official entrance on the other side of the lobby, away from the hustle and bustle of the detainees. You pass the investigation room on the right, turning next to the locker room and the showers, and reach the archive located at the end of the corridor. You flash your badge, fill out a request form, turn it in, and sit in an old metal chair to wait. This part of the police station is quiet and peaceful. After a while, Susie's worried face appears in the window. Someone must have misplaced them. Please wait a moment. We're looking for them.
Okay.
You spend the next several minutes savoring the legendary Richmond PD vending machine coffee, known as the worst sludge. You know that if Susie is on the case, she will go the extra mile to find what you need. You are not mistaken. In the end, they find it. You have in your hands the printed out scans of the full contents of the 67 folder. All right, so the folder we have police report, Sergeant Michael Slater, Richmond Police Homicide Department.
Ah, shit.
The officer that died in
That's
hit
the
and run.
man who was
Yeah.
killed. We gotta go to his funeral.
Suspects: Henry Giles, minor pickpocket, Marcus Owens, pawn shop owner. The victim: Horatio Dawson, florist and flower shop owner. Incident description: on June 14th, 1967 at 8:11 p.m., a police patrol arrived at Horatio Dawson's home at 147 Chillingham Road in Richmond on a disorderly conduct call. The policemen approached the porch and noticed the door to the house was open. There was no response to the policemen's calls, so they entered the premises. Upon entering at the foot of the stairs, they found the body of a tall, well-built man who was later identified to be Horatio Dawson. The body laid face down with both legs remaining partially on the stairs.
He fell down.
The policemen confirmed lack of vitals. Backup units and an ambulance were called at 8:19 p.m. The coroner confirmed death. Physical evidence available at the Richmond PD Evidential Magazine. That might be something we can look up too at some point. I don't know.
Okay.
Description of the crime scene. See annex graphic of the first and second floor layouts, which is this here. Eric. Both the residential property and the attached flower shop had signs of burglary. The glazed glass door in the kitchen leading to the garden was open, and the glass just above the lock was broken. The kitchen cabinets and drawers were open, and some of the dishes were thrown on the floor. In the living room, there were broken vases, books from the shelves scattered on the floor, and open cabinet doors. The door to the flower shop was found open with pots shattered on the floor and boxes torn open. Someone was looking for something.
In both locations.
In the office, papers were scattered across the floor. A broken drinking glass was found under the drawers on the side wall. No fingerprint traces were secured. The glass was wiped clean. A red ceramic pot containing a Florida tassel flower was broken and dirt scattered under a window. A footprint, shoe size 11, was found in the dirt. The desk was moved approximately 12 inches toward the back wall, and parallel scratches were found in the wooden floor. The front edge of the desk had been dented. Traces of a type A blood were discovered, despite an attempt by the perpetrator to wipe them clean. On the desk, there was a typewriter with a piece of paper loaded, a green desk lamp, and 3 pencils. The top of the desk had been wiped. No traces were secured. The open desk drawers contained old 9 by 19 millimeter parabellum cartridges. A 3 by 3 pound brass ashtray was found on the desk. A small trace of tobacco were scattered on the floor. The safe in the office was open with the combination lock in the open position. The safe contained insurance papers and bank statements. The statements revealed that Dawson withdrew his full account balance on the eve of his death, cashing out a total of $16,452, the money of which was not found.
Huh.
A footprint was found on the office door frame, 5.5 inches above the floor, and type A blood traces were found in corridor 19.6 inches from the entrance to the door frame. Blood trailed the railing of the stairs. A piece of the rail was broken off at a 10-degree angle on the west side of the stairs. Blood traces were found on the 6th, 10th, and 12th step. Traces were type A blood.
So was he hit before he fell down the stairs?
Well, the footprint on the wall implies that he was kind of like lifted maybe in a tussle, I would say.
Or
German suplexed.
Maybe. And then he was thrown down the stairs.
it was, how far was it above the
5.5 inches above the floor was a footprint.
Yeah, so someone was on the ground, or he was on the ground and he was pushed.
Now, Michael Slater has a shoe size 11.
Yeah. 11 and a half.
No. Michael Slater has a shoe size of 11.
Who had the shoe size 11 and a half?
I think that was Horatio.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember any 11.5.
Oh, okay.
I'll check.
There's a 5.5 footprint above the floor, but
5.5 inches or shoe
above
size?
the floor.
Okay.
Like that's their half there, but murder suspect Henry Giles is the final report. Henry Giles was allegedly a witness to the victim's attempt to sell valuables at a pawn shop. So Henry Giles watched Horatio selling stuff. He and his partner Marcus Owens made the decision to break into Dawson's home. Giles allegedly tracked the victim to his home. On the evening of June 14th, 1967, Giles parked a car on Rosamond Street, broke into Dawson's home from the garden, leaving a footprint in the dirt, shoe size 11. We should look up Giles.
Horatio has the 11 and a half.
Okay.
Name at Henry Giles, HenryGiles.
I've got
What's
him.
his shoe size? What does it say?
Shoe size 11.
Okay, so his is 11 as well.
Okay.
So his and Slater's both are. The course of the events is alleged as follows. Giles held Dawson at gunpoint. The weapon was found on the suspect the next day. Giles forced the victim to open the safe. There was a struggle followed by screams. Giles pushed the victim down the stairs. He then searched the house chaotically. The perpetrator likely heard the passing patrol, ran out of the house through the back exit, along with a bag of stolen items, and drove off. Suspect Henry Giles was shot dead during the attempted arrest on the following day, June 15th, 1967. In the car, a green Chevrolet sedan, there were the day's sales from the flower shop, a .38 caliber revolver, and an old .08 Parabellum pistol. All items were collected. All items were collected during the police intervention. Suspected accomplice Marcus Owens. Owens' testimony reveals that on June 14th, 1967, Horatio Dawson visited the pawn shop with the intention of selling a variety of jewelry. Owens bought some of the items from the victim for a total of $487. Owens, working as Giles' silent partner, informed Giles of the Dawson had more valuables. However, he denied being involved in the robbery. Testimony of Marcus's ex-wife, Lily Garrett, confirms the suspect's alibi.
So I'm not sure what this means, but in the fingerprint database, as I've been typing in stuff, I have like this match meter.
It's like a 92% match.
It's a 92% for fingerprint traces found in Horatio Dawson's house. So I think we're missing like one thing.
Okay.
I don't know what that means.
So as we keep finding
What it means is that you have a JDER25 JAMSTY, and Henry Giles is JDER23 JAMSTY. So it's almost an exact match to Henry Giles.
I see.
Let me make sure, because
I mean,
that
it's the fingerprint. It could just be a partial. Right?
it could be smudged and messed up a little bit. So
Yeah.
at 92%
I mean,
matches
90,
Henry
I think
Giles.
that's a pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good match.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, or
But-
it could have been a fingerprint over top of one of his.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
That's why it's slightly.
the fingerprint traces from the kitchen, the cabinets, the drawers, the glass door, the living room cabinet, like all over the place, was JDER25 JAMSTY.
Right.
And
Whereas
that
Henry
is-
Giles' was a 23. So it's only one. I mean, out of this is only one digit difference of the
Right.
entire thing. But it's close to Henry Giles', but not quite.
Okay.
So I don't know what that
But
means.
does that prove that Henry Giles was there? I mean, it's a pretty
Maybe.
pretty
I mean,
close match. How could that be a little bit off if it was?
I mean, it
some
could have
other
been.
person? I mean, it's a fingerprint. Everybody's fingerprint's unique. It's not like you can
Sure.
like, oh, that person's his brother. You know, it's that. I think that just means like it's so close, but not 100%. You know.
I mean,
So does that prove that Henry Giles was there?
or does it prove that he wasn't?
I think it proves that he was.
it could.
I mean, if
prove
they
that
have an
he-
exact, like this is a thumbprint and everything's right except for this part, Henry Giles does this.
I don't know if that's what that means. I think it just means like a lot of them are partial. and
Well,
not all
no,
of them
because
are 100.
impartial, we have some fingerprint traces from the brass ashtray, partially distorted, but they are like YU-XXX6-BHU-XX5. Like the partials are
are very different.
Yeah. Whereas this is a full fingerprint, but it's one different from that.
It's one marker different.
So I don't know.
I mean, it could be fabricated.
But keep these in mind too, as far as these partial fingerprints we have are YU and then 3 blanks and a 6 dash BHU 2 blanks and a 5.
This is why detectives need forensic scientists to tell me how to interpret this evidence. Because I can't tell what exactly that means.
I'm trying to look it up to see.
I don't know. It feels strangely coincidental.
Do we have Michael Slater's fingerprints?
I'll check.
We should, right?
Yeah.
Signatures is where you have to input and match all signatures collected during the investigation. System will automatically recognize the signature types and add a short description. You can add your own description as well, such as what it's related to. You have access to all signatures you've entered into the system at any point during the game. They're divided into 3 categories. Can match evidence with various persons of interest and with one another, giving you valuable data or enabling an arrest. If your match is significant for your case, you will earn additional points that will be automatically added to your final scoring. Important signatures never match all 12 characters. The character X represents an incomplete or damaged signature. Match strength. A weak match is 5 or less, not giving you anything substantial, but may prove useful in a guessing game. You cannot take legal action based on this evidence. 6 to 7 is an inconclusive match. It is somehow likely that you have a positive match. It's enough for you to take legal action to obtain a search warrant or an arrest warrant, but you should look for a better one if you can. Conclusive is 8 to 9. Highly likely you have a positive match. You can take legal action. 10 to 11 is a perfect match.
Okay. So we do have a perfect match.
What are we at? 10?
11 out of 12.
11 out of 12.
You have absolutely identified the forensics. If there's a similar signature within the database, it will present your best match. With this evidence, you are sure to win the case.
Where did it say 11 out of 12?
Let me go back to our evidence.
Is that what it said on the 92% thing?
Yeah.
I think so. Let me check.
On
11 out of 12.
Okay.
So that's definitely Giles. He definitely was there despite what his ex-wife says.
Yep.
What does ex-wife say?
At the bottom of that one there, it says suspected, right?
You mean Marcus Owens' ex-wife?
Marco Owens. I'm
Lily
sorry.
Garrett?
Marcus Owens.
Yeah.
Henry Giles is the fingerprint we found.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what are follow-ups?
Well, we kind of looked into Henry Giles, right? Did we do that?
Yep.
Yeah, we looked in.
I think so.
We can look into Henry Giles. We can look into Michael Slater. Which look at his fingerprint.
Make sure I added Henry. Look at Michael's.
Yeah, Michael Slater's.
I don't have his fingerprint.
We don't have his fingerprint.
Really?
I mean, he was never convicted of anything or jailed.
Yeah, but
he was a police officer. I don't think
He was a
they have
police
to-
officer. They should have had his prints on file, so that they could cancel out any prints of his
So
on.
what do we have
His
on
blood
that?
type is an O. His shoe size is 11. Limited knee mobility due to a screwdriver injury in the line of duty.
Ow.
Okay, that hurts.
I'm saying you figure if he was involved with anything, the guy's going to be smart enough to be wearing gloves and stuff like that.
That's why you have Giles' fingerprint everywhere. It's
Maybe.
just is a weird. The weird point in the report is that he found Giles' revolver
Yeah.
and also the other gun.
Right?
Yeah.
Which he might have just dropped.
I don't know.
Or, planted.
Something
I
just
would say
seems
planted. Yeah.
something seems weird with the homicide of Horatio Dawson. I think I'm not sure what it is. Something my gut tells me something's not right.
Well, and also that Mike Slater is the arresting officer, and he kills Giles trying to arrest him.
It would make a good if he was involved. It makes a good cover up of like, well, he tried to fight it, shot him.
Yeah, but the 2 revolvers were in the car. Where was Giles shot?
We're going to need to want to know more about Officer Slater before we go to his funeral.
Which is in a couple days.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
maybe
it's
we
the day
should-
after tomorrow.
We should look into him, get some information. We can use that as a baseline for anything we learn there.
Investigate it more tomorrow. 'Cause
So,
I gotta get home. My wife's already mad. I'm here all the time anyway.
Yeah.
have we done the evidence related to the case?
We haven't looked at the evidence yet. We could do that.
We can also look at Horatio's autopsy report. We can consult a forensic psychologist, and we can go to Horatio's grave.
I think the evidence
But we
for
should
the
do all that
case would
tomorrow.
be a good thing. We should start with that tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
You guys agree?
Yeah.
I don't want to get stressed.
To date 2.
Dawn of the second day. Majora's Mask.
We doing?
No, you don't need that.
You just move the red down,
48
Calvin.
hours remain.
And then take us to 8 a.m.
Move it down to day 2.
I thought we were on day 2.
We haven't finished day 1 yet.
I think it just got bumped when you
Yeah.
were moving it around.
Okay.
So 8 a.m.
All right, 8 a.m.
I think we should look at the evidence of the case from Michael Slater's case first and see if we can find any clues there.
That's at Richmond PD. So
Yeah.
is that another space on the board?
It is.
Okay, so that's going to take us an hour to get there.
Okay.
And then once we're there, it's number 106.
It's going to take 3 hours.
So 3 more hours, Calvin.
We're at 12 noon.
Lunch.
You pass 3 cops who are talking about some suspect being on the move. Somebody saw him a few blocks from here. They cover their heads with their jackets and run out into the rain. In front of
Still
you,
raining.
in front of you at the end of the corridor, you see a ruckus in the lobby. A couple of policemen are struggling with a tattooed jock. You turn left past the locker rooms and showers and reach the evidence storage, which shares space with the archives. You fill out the application manually, sign 4 consecutive forms, and hand everything to Susie, who takes the forms and winks at you. You brace yourself for several dozen minutes of waiting with a cup of nasty coffee in one hand and a phone in the other. You sit in one of the dozen or so wired chairs which stand along the wall. You have time to read on the internet about military operations during World War II. Finally, they call out your name. The archive employee brings you a dusty cardboard box. Inside, you find only a couple items. The torn scraps of a typewritten paper in a paper envelope labeled Send to Lab 72467. Over the writing, there's a stamp reading Examination Canceled.
Oh.
Then it says to read 128, 129, and 135.
I wonder if our boy Mike canceled the...
I feel like he might have canceled the exam.
So let's see. We need to read one. Dang it, Rick, you took it away, so I can't. 128,
Sorry, 129
129.
and 135. We can also, after we do that, spend a magnifying glass token to make sure that's all the evidence. And then we have a couple further leads after this.
All right, so we got a description. There's evidence, a photo of a woman. Photo found in a shattered frame on the floor next to the desk of Horatio Dawson's office. And another photo found in Horatio Dawson's safe. It's a military photo. Here's evidence. The brass ashtray, which had fingerprints on it, weighs approximately 3.3 pounds, found on the desk. It's got a bullet in it.
A bullet.
Yeah. And then we have a pendant, heart-shaped pendant, which suspect Marcus Owens bought at his pawn shop from Horatio Dawson. Owens later gave this to his wife, Lily Owens.
Right. With some money as an apology.
Mm-hmm. There's that. Owens Pawn Shop, Marcus Owens. 1, jewelry. 2, gold watch. $487. For this one, we can use magnifying glass to verify the authenticity of the bill. See.
The 487 number comes from how much?
We should verify this to check Horatio's signature.
Okay.
Yeah.
You think?
Maybe.
Seems a
Just
weird
use
thing.
the bill.
Seems a weird thing to prompt. Okay.
Can anyone's characters change authority tokens to magnifying tokens? Because we have 2 things right now that need a magnifying token.
I can spend a star and an appropriate skill token to dig deeper on a lead card that's already been resolved. Whatever that means.
So once we have a card, if we choose not to dig deeper at that moment, we can't do that later. unless you use your ability. So like
Oh, okay. So I can use my ability on like
on old evidence.
press Owens further or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas otherwise you're not allowed to go back.
Okay. So the digging deeper is just flipping it over.
Yes.
Okay. So do we want to do the authenticity? What's the other thing we can do?
Well, the other thing was, it was
Mine's
on-
random report action. So.
It was to make sure we had all the evidence, right?
Ooh, making sure that's all the evidence or the authenticity of the bill. How do we get more?
Well, we have a wild too, at least one, so we could do both,
How do you get more of those? Just by investigating, and you might get more.
or our abilities. Can't someone make wilds?
I can
Calvin
make
do
wilds.
something.
Yeah. Spend two
Spend two
stars
of
from the
these.
token pool and add one Joker token.
Okay, so that's how we can refresh. So right now, how many wild tokens do we have?
5. Or
We have one right now.
Okay, so we have exactly enough to do both.
actions.
Because I feel like Mike might have forged the signature.
I feel like he might have. I feel like he's done something that he was covering up.
Well, Horatio owned the pawn shop, right?
The flower shop. Marcus owns the pawn shop.
Yeah,
Why does it have Horatio's signature on it then?
because
his
it's a bill of receipt.
He was selling the watch
He
and the
bought
jewelry.
Okay,
for
Yeah.
$487.
got
He
it.
sold the jewelry.
June.
Yes.
Marcus bought it. That's probably what you
Yeah.
meant.
Yeah, Marcus bought it
From
for
Horatio.
$487, and then he tipped off guys.
So Horatio went. He sold a bunch of jewelry
Yeah.
and a watch, apparently,
Yeah.
which that could be the watch we have. Maybe if he sold that to Marcus.
Well,
Trying to think
we
this
could do
out.
one first and then decide. So which one do we think is a definite? Probably checking to make sure there's more evidence.
Yeah, we should check to make sure if
More.
there's any more evidence.
We can do that for one magnifying glass.
Okay.
There's also further leads on this too.
Yeah, so after we resolve the card, we can...
All right, so we
Get
spent
into
that. The contents of the box surprised you. The evidence is very poor, even for the time in which it was assembled. You know exactly how the evidence material collected at the crime scene should look. Every clue, every piece of paper, cigarette butt, hair, dozens of smallest details should be taken into account. Instead, there are 3 measly items thrown into an old cardboard box. What a joke. It would be good to do something about it. But there isn't that much time, and it would require Delaware to let you go through both the evidence and archives. That would delay the investigation. The procedural errors in the case of Dawson's murder have little to do with the mystery of the Polish watch. You'll bring it up to Delaware when you return to Antares. You have an impression bordering on certainty that something is not right here. You will gladly find out what it is. Add plot card to 124 to case 2.
Okay, so take 124 from the deck.
So, yeah. So Mike Slater did not file all this evidence properly.
No.
He made it so that he could pass as like, yep, this is it. But not everything's there.
Yeah.
Calvin has it.
This is a fake.
Bucktown.
However, does this pertain to the watch?
It might just be shoddy police work.
It could be something completely different, not related to the watch. You know, I mean, there could be conspiracy and murder there, but it's not related to the watch. You know,
I mean, it could be
mean-
as simple as Horatio came in, he sold the watch. Like, did he actually sell the watch? Did he have the watch to Marcus? And then Marcus got it. He got the pendant from him, probably, right? Because that's
Yeah.
there.
so if he has the
Next thing
pendant,
we should
where's the
verify
watch?
is the signature of Horatio on the receipt. Because if it's not his signature, then we
it's-
know that either
that's
Marcus
proof that.
All right.
or someone else.
So, if we go with the assumption that Horatio had the watch, then he sold it to Marcus. Then some shady things happened to Horatio, not involving our case currently. So the thing I guess we need to look at is not who killed who for what, but how did Horatio end up with the watch to sell it to Marcus?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's what we need to stay on track with, not like what did Michael Slater do,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I guess.
Prioritizing
maybe
this
we-
case over another.
And maybe we can, we're gonna have to go to the funeral anyway, so maybe we can try to catch something there
Yeah.
in the information we're gonna get there later.
So
But it feels like we need to stick to the watch, not to discovering any kind of conspiracy,
okay.
because this is the kind of game that throws a lot at you, and
Yeah.
it's not all, one was, the murderer and the Mike Slater thing is, that's interesting. But as we said here, Delaware, we can tell that to Delaware, but that's not the point.
So the further leads, we can examine the paper shreds. We can contact a historical consultation on evidence material.
So the furthest back we have the watch right now is where?
Assuming it's Horatio.
Okay.
Assuming that this information is correct.
The assumption is that, because right now we don't really have the proof of it, it was in the museum. It was stolen by the Nazi.
Yes.
The Nazi, somehow it went from him to Horatio, possibly when they're in the war.
And then that was stolen,
And then
buried it under a basement.
And then he brought it, and at some point, for some reason, whatever the reasons is for this case, sold it to Marcus Owens, who then had it, and then his son found it.
We need to know what happened to the Nazi.
So
we need to connect those 2 points.
Yeah.
Under this assumption, how did it go from the Nazi to Horatio Dawson is what we need to figure out.
When was Dawson born?
1925.
Okay.
So his autopsy report is irrelevant, right?
I don't think it's going to be.
I don't
not
think
for
it's-
this case.
Not for this case. Maybe for figuring out.
His death itself shouldn't affect it.
And his grave.
I doubt it.
I mean, he had blood all over the house, and he either fell or threw down went down the steps. Especially the blood on the every other step, and then he still has 2 feet where his body's found on the steps.
We don't need to verify the signature, then.
I think what that would do is, if it's not his signature, that just means that we know Mike Slater did not. He is. Not only did he not properly file stuff, but he planted things. We know that. But does that pertain to the
What other leads do we have?
locket?
Well, it might point us towards another lead between Blutholz and.
But-
Horatio Dawson.
But
what
the
does that give
arresting
us?
officer, what does he have to do with, the locket?
The watch.
I'm sorry, the watch. Yeah.
What, Aaron?
Does Horatio Dawson give us any more, information from his past? Any leads from him? History?
He was arrested for assault on the retired colonel, but
Sam
charges were
Brown.
dropped. Well, it has to be something with him and his colonel, I feel like.
Him and Sam Brown.
Yeah.
So we do have
we
his
can
military
look up,
personnel files we could look up.
Yeah, we already looked up the robbery report.
Let's look at Sam Brown again, too.
But we can look up Dawson's personal file in the militaries.
Okay.
If we want. That's 113, and we have to go back to headquarters.
Okay.
Samuel Brown,
Yeah, let's go. We didn't go through him yet, I don't think. We started to meet him.
he died of a car accident.
Okay.
Another car-related death.
Retired colonel, 1946, charged with fraud, corruption, and falsifying reports.
He
What
could
kind
have-
of reports?
I mean, depending on... Okay.
could have gotten the.
In war, you're not allowed to steal stuff from the battlefield, right? If he killed a Nazi or, met up with Kurt somehow and took
the watch.
I mean, if he's already for falsifying reports and corruption, possibly he could have this, and then it went on to...
1949, he was found not guilty by court-martial.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it could have been...
And then he left... Wait, did it say he left the service then?
He left the service that year, in 1949. Due to clerical error, that was previously a wrong date of death, 1992, in Samuel Brown's file. It was later corrected to the coroner's data, which is 1985. So that is, 8 years earlier?
Yeah. That's weird.
So I wonder if someone altered the coroner's report?
Possibly.
After the fact? I think we should maybe look up Dawson's military record.
Yeah.
Because him and Samuel got in a fight. And I wonder if...
Why?
Yeah, if Horatio discovered...
The watch, maybe, or something,
Yeah.
or some kind of stealing of...
Yeah.
Or some kind of dealing with something.
113.
I mean, corruption, he could be dealing with Nazis. All right.
So-
Let's be
Yeah.
an hour
He
back
could
to
have been. He
headquarters.
could have been on the take for getting war criminals into the country, hiding them.
Give me
Could
an
be.
hour back to headquarters.
Okay.
2 hours on this.
All right.
Damn.
3:00.
The computer on the desk behind you looks for connections between Dawson, Horatio, World War II, Europe. Veterans, diaries, interviews, memories, photos, archives, anything that will allow you to get more information about this man. Someone, somewhere, had to write something about him. Someone somewhere must remember him. In a letter from the war or an interview, somewhere for sure. On the monitor, subsequent documents flash, download, get analyzed, and rejected. The computer on the right analyzes information about the military tattoos and the expression 7 steps to hell. The images flash one by one on the monitor. It took you a few minutes to set up filters that would discard the results with prison tattoos. Without those filters, it would take weeks to sort through them. While these two behemoths are running down the information superhighway, dragging information through the fiber optic, you are battling the forms from the National Personal Records Center in St. Louis, trying to file an application for Dawson's military files. Finally, you give up, pick up the phone, and make a call. A nice lady promises to take care of it personally. 10 minutes later, you receive your answer by email.
Nice.
We regret
Good
to
lady.
inform you that the files of Mr. Dawson belong to a group of documents destroyed in a fire of July 12th, 1973.
73.
All that is left is the following data. A catalog card from the inventory sheet regarding the conduct of this service. We do not have any information, although it can be concluded from the number of distinctions that it was exemplary. All right, so we have add 1 star token to the pool. And we have Horatio James Dawson, born March 12th, White Springs, Texas. June 14th, 1967 was his death in Richmond, Virginia.
That checks.
Service January 43 to November 45. U.S. Army conscript from 1946 to 1955, located in Fort Lee training the U.S. Army Quartermaster Corps. 7th Army, 6th Infantry Corps, rank of Sergeant, Distinguished Service Cross, Purple Heart, Bronze Star, European, African, Middle Eastern Campaign Medal.
Damn.
And a partridge in a pear. Isn't that for the Rock, right? Husky Operation. Calvin, look up Husky Operation. And Undertone Operation. The 2 comments listed here. Buried West Virginia Veterans Cemetery. And we can do field work for the Virginia Veterans Cemetery.
So he was an exemplary soldier.
Mm-hmm.
But someone burnt the
having-
files.
Well, they were lost in a fire.
Sure. So maybe
It was part of a group of documents destroyed in a fire.
maybe it was the commanding officer that's the dirty one.
Eric, remember the flood in Prison Break?
Operation Husky was an Allied invasion of Sicily in the major campaign of World War II, where the Allies took control of the island of Sicily from the Axis powers.
All right. What about Undertone Operation?
Operation Undertone was a large assault by the U.S. 7th and French 1st Armies of the U.S. 6th Army Group as part of the Allied invasion of Germany in March 1945 during World War II.
Okay, so he was involved in both of those.
Yeah.
I don't know that gives us much.
I mean,
It could be. What size shoe does Samuel Brown have? It doesn't say.
I don't think it matters.
Well, I mean, what if he killed Horatio? Because of the watch.
For having taken the watch, or for what?
I don't know. I mean, we just don't have information that's useful here.
Yeah.
And whatever information was there is destroyed in a fucking fire.
Yeah. When was it destroyed?
1973.
I don't think we found anyone with blood type A yet.
Well, blood type A.
Horatio
the
had
victim
blood type A.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had A RH plus.
I mean,
Let's see what else we have. We can't go too much further with this. I don't know if going to the cemetery
we
and doing
could
field work is
just
going to help us there.
Stop the day and go to the funeral tomorrow. We haven't investigated the auction house owners.
Yeah. But if we're trying to figure out where the watch, unless they can give us some information on the history of the watch somehow, but isn't that what we're trying to figure out?
I mean, we just don't know if Horatio had it. We don't know where he got it.
Yeah.
But we
I
don't,
mean,
we don't even know he had it.
The assumption of that is from the bill saying that he gave. Damn it! No. Is that he gave
Yes.
a watch and jewelry?
Mm-hmm.
That's the assumption
Yeah.
there.
A watch, but not the watch.
It just says gold watch. That's all it says.
Well, we haven't done the forensic data on the dust in the watch.
We could do that.
We haven't checked the signature. We haven't investigated the auction house owners, and we need to attend the funeral.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do the lab work.
Well, I mean, we've only got 1 hour left today.
We only got 2 days left, right?
We've only got 2 days left.
How long is the funeral going to take?
The funeral, it starts at 8 a.m., so we have to draw a card 1:34. It'll tell us the number of hours.
Gotcha.
Damn it.
Would imagine only an hour.
I don't know.
Didn't
Could've been
the old
Catholic.
guy say that only one of us had to go?
Well, we got to go together, though.
It still counts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
come on.
darn.
All right, Rick, you go.
Well, I mean, if the rest of us could keep working on the investigation,
Yeah, no.
yeah,
We all go
I don't think the
together.
game is meant to be played that way.
No.
No.
All right. So either A, we use some overtime and some stress tokens now,
I mean,
or we wait for tomorrow.
we've got
The
a
only thing I
few-
would say to do today would be to maybe do the lab on these things.
That'll probably take a while.
It could.
I would do that at the start of tomorrow if we're going to do it.
I just don't want to waste time on day 4, being our last day, right? Right? We want to go day 4?
I'm pretty sure.
Damn.
Yeah, investigation is 4
You
days.
have 4
long.
days.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to wait till tomorrow? What do you guys think?
I mean, we can start putting in some overtime.
Yeah, we can put up to 7 hours total. But, you know, we might as well just save that for the last day.
I guess.
I mean, we can do forensics
Do it
on
on day 3.
on the box, on the watch.
Do that now.
I mean, what if it turns out that it was never buried under that porch or something? We've been chasing
Yeah.
this shit, you know?
I mean,
Let's.
it
We can
could
do
be
7
a
tokens. Like each overtime hour is 1 token. Is that how it works?
yeah.
Let's just go hard tomorrow if we have to. Maybe.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Another thing, like, it could just be a coincidence that this gold watch was.
It could just be a random gold watch.
It could be a
Could
random
be a
gold
wristwatch
watch.
and not a.
The person who
Well,
owned the home
I mean-
before
By
Marcus.
investigating the authenticity of it, like that's not just necessarily the signature.
It may give us more.
It may give us more.
We could do that before we end the day.
Do that before we end the day.
Okay.
We gotta use a Joker token.
That's fine.
Well, we have to use the. Yeah, we used the other one
We
already.
gotta use a Joker token.
And you've got to use your ability, right?
No.
Okay.
No, a Joker token's for anything, right?
Yeah.
Like a wild card.
But I thought your ability was if we decided not to do something, but we changed our mind.
Well,
Oh, is that what that is?
yeah, we would have to do that.
So we need to spend some command tokens.
Spend that and an appropriate
So-
skill token.
Well, it's that and that to do
Yeah.
that. Is what
All
it'd
right.
be. All right.
Let's flip it over.
Alrighty. You call the office and ask them to look for Dawson's signature scan everywhere in the system. His military ID, letters, bills to the laundry, anything. They say they'll check and call you back. You sit in a metal chair and watch the policeman at the end of the corridor still struggle with a tattooed man, trying to bring him into custody. The guy is high on drugs and causing serious problems. 3 policemen barely manage to get him into the cell. Meanwhile, your phone beeps. Check your email. You hear in the phone. You have a photo of Dawson's military ID with his signature. You do not need a graphologist to determine that the signatures look identical. The one on the receipt and the one on the card. The receipt seems to be real. You can imagine Dawson leaning over the counter of the pawn shop, passing Owens a watch, picking up his pen and signing the bill. His fingerprints must be here.
Is that it?
And then there's also further leads. Take the bill for fingerprint research, 114.
114.
Mm-hmm.
Did that take? No, it didn't take any time.
No.
But okay.
It's a follow up.
Yeah. It's a
Okay.
follow-up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can decide.
Well, we probably don't want to do it now. 'Cause it's-
Well-
what is it?
Don't you get to do that with your power, though? Or is that just...
Take the bill for yeah. That's something extra we can do. We don't want to
Okay.
do that now. It's gonna take us time. It's also gonna be at the lab, which is an hour to go there.
Gotcha.
Do we care about the fingerprints? So it was definitely Horatio Dawson.
Yeah, it was his signature, and he was just trying to get his prints off of the receipt to see if we could match them against something else. But I don't think we need those prints.
I mean, yeah, I don't think we need him either. I mean, it wasn't
It
wasn't a faked bill of receipt or anything.
We already have a perfect match for Horatio Dawson's.
Yeah, and it's not integral to being able to prove that watch is the watch that we're looking for.
Yeah, I say we
Wait for the
go
funeral.
early tomorrow.
Yeah.
We can start going on that.
Let's do the funeral tomorrow.
All right. Is there anything else that we
Nope.
could
No.
do? No. Okay.
Funeral
All right.
tomorrow.
Next day,
What's the number one thing
For
on
the funeral.
to remind us about the
Okay.
funeral.
Okay.
Bring us down to 8 a.m. and draw the card.
I don't know what card it is.
Is 134. Richmond PD. So we have to drive an hour.
Okay. An hour.
Damn it. Why don't we just
But it
stay
starts
there?
at 8. We're already late.
Why don't we just go there first? You arrive at Richmond PD in the parking lot. There are over.
You can start the day at Richmond.
Okay, good.
Well, could we have started the day yesterday at the lab?
No.
Darn.
All right, 2 hours. You arrive at Richmond PD in the parking lot. There are over 20 policemen and women wearing formal uniforms with umbrellas in their hands. Within the next few minutes, even more cars arrive, until finally everyone gets into the cars and the procession heads to the cemetery. The grim weather and the nasty drizzle are a fitting backdrop to the ceremony. You park at a distance and stand in the back watching in solemn silence. After it's finished, you talk to several policemen, jumping from topic to topic. The investigation of Slater's hit and run has slumped. The late Slater's wife is a tough woman. After all, she has been the wife of a police investigator all of her life. Slater was retired for 30 years, but he often stopped by the precinct. In the end, the weather forces everyone to flee back to the cars. If you want to talk about his old investigations and cases, come to the station, says your old pal Tarkovsky. It's dry there. We have donuts and coffee, and a few of Slater's old friends will also be there. Place the IT marker on the fieldwork location.
I think this
I think
one.
it's the lock.
Yeah, but
computer
it's
lock.
a new one. So if we go there, I think we pick it up.
Gotcha.
We can use we can visit the police station
Okay.
for Richmond PD, which further leads, or we can talk with the widow with a magnifying glass.
Well, we don't have a magnifying glass, so I would have to spend 2 star tokens to do that.
I don't see what it has to do with the watch. I don't see the connection.
I was thinking, is the guy in the middle, is that the colonel?
I can show you the pictures.
I would have no idea.
Well, I mean, we have a picture of him.
Samuel Brown, right?
Yeah. Does that look like him?
He's older there.
I don't know. I think that's Horatio.
Yeah, Horatio's on the right, and then I was thinking Brown might have been
I don't know who the other guys are.
next to him, but I'm not sure. He wouldn't have had the rank back then, right? Because the fight was much later.
The fight was.
I just don't know if we're on the right track to solve the case that we want to solve. But I think we're on a track that we could solve a case that needs to be solved.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get
But
you.
that's not why we're here.
1967.
1967. So
was
that would have
well
been
after the war.
that was 22 years after the war. Yeah.
He was murdered during a robbery in 67.
Yeah.
Where at? Do we know? Michigan?
M.I. Is it Michigan?
Maybe that's what it means.
I mean, we looked at this file already, I think, right? Police file.
No, that's Horatio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought we were looking at
I
Brown.
thought we were looking at Sam.
Well, I was.
He was killed in a car accident.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the date was changed. So,
That's right. Yeah, it was an 8-year difference.
an 8-year difference.
Why would there be an 8-year difference? I mean, that guy died 8 years ago.
I feel like it makes sense if one of the American Army people like took the watch back.
Yeah.
Because we've got nothing on the Nazi coming to America.
The exchange, I think, had to happen overseas.
We need to figure out what that fight was about.
Yeah, it had to have taken place
In the
overseas,
70s.
but well, I mean, it could have been taken as payment to get him over here, or it could have been taken, over there. Just taking it from him.
All right, we can have some evidence looked into by the labs. They can also look at the paper shreds we have.
We can talk to the auction house.
We can talk to them. We can go to headquarters and talk to a historical consultant on evidence and material. We have a cemetery. We can stay at Richmond PD and talk with people about old cases if you think that'll help. I don't know that it would.
Somehow we need to get to look for more stuff about Samuel Brown and Horatio.
We didn't do that. Okay.
Can we look up Samuel Brown's, military history?
There's nothing. Nothing I can do with him.
So he's just completely unrelated. He's just an aside.
Same. I don't think he is.
I don't think he is either.
I think
Well,
We haven't found the thing that ties them together.
the Nazis stole the watch, and then somehow Sam Brown acquired it.
Yeah. Brought it back, and Horatio knew.
And
And you're basing that off of.
then somehow it went
fight.
from Sam to Horatio. And then Horatio sold it. Sold it to Marcus.
assumedly.
But he only sold it to Marcus for a few hundred, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marcus then hid it, and then Rupert found it,
Sold it.
and then sold it to the auction house.
And that makes sense, but we can't prove any of that.
No.
Yeah, I mean, we just have evidence of an argument between those two.
I say we check the soil samples in the box.
Yeah. To see if it actually was buried under the house.
Maybe it'll shed some light.
Could do. You go to the lab.
Or to go to the lab. I'll draw a card.
An hour.
You get 1 hour to the lab. It's gonna be 3 hours for the lab. It's been pouring rain for an hour already. But I feel like it's been pouring longer than that.
What card number is this?
102.
Okay.
Card number 102. It's been pouring rain for an hour already. The city is still. You take a back street to avoid the most congested part of the city center. You scan your ID at the entrance. The computer welcomes you and invites you inside. You take the elevator to the 8th floor, walk through the glass doors, and enter the clean world of the white lab. You log into the lab bench, give the signatures of the evidence materials, tick off the range of research you need, add a high priority procedure, and wait for the technician. After a while, in comes a young girl. She puts the watch and the cigar box into separate containers and secures them. The screen with your request turns blue. Data accepted for analysis, notification of statuses, and access codes will be sent by email. The girl leaves. You have some extra time. You take the elevator to the information center on the 3rd floor. You grab coffee and a sandwich. Then you sit down with a laptop at one of the free desks. Reports, emails, Wikipedia, and reading up on old Polish watches. Finally, you get the notification. They're done with the analysis. You go back to the 8th floor. You log in, input the access code. You have your results. Cigar box analysis. Evidence. Fingerprints on top of the cigar box. Clear fingerprints of both hands. SD. ASFFGH 887 6YU. There's a hyphen between the H and the 8.
Rupert Owens.
Okay. Evidence. Fingerprints inside cigar box. Old. Well preserved. A clear thumbprint and fingers of left hand. Alrighty.
Marcus Owens.
So his dad.
Evidence. A sample of soil from the cigar box. It contains, it's going to be SM.
Yep.
Contains particles of chernosum with elements of peat enriched with chemical agents for plant breeding.
Okay, so probably the flower shop.
AJ TU 98 BNYU 68. This is like the soil sample.
Yeah. at some point, matching evidence, at some point the cigar box was stored in Horatio Dawson's house. That proves a connection between Dawson and the cigar box.
Okay.
So that watch must have been sold from Horatio to Marcus with that receipt there. Evidence. Fingerprints inside cigar box. Old, numerous, but partially worn off.
That also gave us the dirt from the ceramic pot contains a
58%.
print. Yeah. So it 58% matches the dirt
Okay.
of the footprint from the crime scene.
That's a 7 to 12, so that's a pretty good match.
So that's actionable.
Yep.
All right.
Right. Okay.
SD, Rick.
SD.
Yeah,
Okay.
see, these are fingerprints inside the cigar box. There's old, numerous, and partially worn.
Okay.
YU3456 BHU Y86.
Horatio Dawson.
Okay, we got a 92% match on Horatio Dawson.
Okay.
So we have Horatio's fingerprints in the box as well as
Marcus
the
Owens.
soil,
Owens.
the soil from Horatio's. All right, read 107.
It's gonna be the watch, probably.
Most likely, yeah. That was all cigar box right there. We can also make sure that's all of the traces with a PC skill.
Okay.
All right. Results from the watch. Evidence. Fingerprints on the old watch. SD. Old watch, well preserved, clear fingerprint of left ring finger is FJE D44 KLM DF6.
DF6.
Yes.
Watch. This gold watch belonged to Marcus Owens at some point.
Okay. Evidence SD. Fingerprints on watch, fresh and clear fingerprint on the right hand thumb and left hand index finger. I bet this is going to probably be Rupert.
Probably.
ASF FGH -787 6YU. Rupert Owens.
Rupert Owens.
Yeah.
Pretty good match there. Okay. SD. Here's another. Ooh, dang it. We can't do this one. Fingerprints on the watch, old and damaged, faulty fingerprints. We only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 12 for fingerprint matchup here. Evidence, fingerprints, watch on the dial. A fragment of a ring fingerprint was obtained. SD C3U 224-634 6UB.
Match restricted. Access denied. Your match inquiry has been registered and transmitted to the Department of Defense in accordance with Directive 17006. Dig deeper with a PC token. Find out more about the directive.
I think we should do that.
Yeah, that seems
that
like a
definitely.
All right,
That's why the back has a thing with
read
no flipper.
107B.
All right.
All right.
Directive 170 dash or hyphen slash 06, whatever it is new to you. You do not know what it means. The identification attempt has been registered and transferred somewhere to the DOD. Apparently, you are meddling with intelligence affairs. This is the only explanation for the secrecy and restricted access of the fingerprints. You leave the right laboratory, take the elevator to the underground parking lot, and get in the car. You don't know if you want to chase after this to try to find out more about the mysterious directive. You can always try another method to get the data. The military and terrorists and the police systems are all connected. Maybe a skilled specialist can bypass the blockade, or it could possibly rub someone the wrong way. You can follow directive to 101 headquarters.
It's our lead.
Yep, that's a lead we have.
So do we want to start shaking these branches?
We don't have anything else.
The American Eagle will...
The only other thing is that we can use a computer here. I don't know, we don't have any computers, do we?
We'd have to.
I'd have to use two.
Make sure that's all the traces from the cigar box.
The only other thing that would be useful is if it had the Nazi one,
If there's something connected to the Nazi or Sam Brown,
right.
Yeah.
which either of those could be possible with
So we need two
Department-
computers then.
Department of Defense kind of thing going on.
How's that?
Well, we need one to make sure...
That's for this.
Oh.
Yeah, we already used it.
This is just a lead.
Oh,
This just
okay.
takes time. So we can use a computer to do this. We can take some time to go to the headquarters and follow this directive.
Okay. But the computer is to make sure we have all the evidence.
That's to make sure we have everything from the cigar box.
We should probably do it, right?
I feel like we should.
I mean, we have 5, so we can do that one more time if we do it now.
We can also get a computer token if we go to
Field work.
field work. But then Aaron would have to spend a point to let us do it retroactively.
So either way, we're going to be using a star to do it for sure.
2 stars for him, right?
Yeah. And a star in the token for that.
But it'll cost us an hour to go do field work.
Yeah.
And an hour to come back, right? Or could we just do it as soon as we get there?
The lab. I don't know. Let's just do the Joker thing with Calvin and make sure we're good on this, and then spend our time doing that instead.
Yep.
All right. Good shot, Calvin.
So far away. Doesn't need to be over there.
You download the report on the laptop, and this is 126B. You download the report on the laptop and forward it to Antares. You are about to leave the lab when you suddenly think of something. You return to the delivery room, enter the signatures of the cigar box again. Then enter the menu of the scope of the search to choose soil, seeds, and others. Wonder what they will make out from these seeds. High priority again. You wait. A few minutes later, you get the results. Evidence box. Seeds and soil sample taken from the cigar box. Seeds of Amelia Fosbergi, Florida tassel flower, occurring in the natural state only in Louisiana, Texas, California, and Hawaii. SM. Yeah, do the SM thing.
Okay.
86R TEY dash NLT TA7.
Okay, so we know that
T
Horatio was born in Texas.
Two T's.
And he had
This was in the cigar box.
Yeah.
a Florida tassel flower that was broken in his store.
There's the flower.
But the cigar box contains traces of a plant found in Texas where Horatio Dawson came from. He probably stored the box in a plant pot for a long time, even before he opened the flower shop.
So he hid this box in a flower pot that they broke open during the robbery.
Yep.
And that was in Virginia, right? The robbery?
The robbery, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's had this, he's probably kept it.
So he planted it in
He's
Texas.
had this from the war, maybe.
Yeah, he'd had to have it for a long time.
Yeah. When did he move to Virginia? Can we get that information?
I mean, that puts us back to Texas now with him having it.
Horatio.
Where did Samuel Brown, where did he live? We can't get any information on him, can we?
I don't think we have any.
It doesn't say when he moved.
What about Sam Brown?
Sam Brown. Sam Brown was born Frederick, Maryland.
He
MD.
died in Maryland.
He died
too.
in Maryland.
Okay. So any connection or any...
No specific connections we can think of to Texas.
I'm curious what Samuel Brown did as a colonel. Maybe that's why things are coming back from the DOD.
I mean, if we want to interrogate the auction house owners, we have to go to field work anyway.
Yeah.
I think we should follow the directive, though. Figure out whose fingerprint this is that's on this watch.
Because if it's...
I mean, that's someone who has touched this watch that had it, and that gives us at least some history on where the watch has been.
If it's Kurt, if it's the Nazi that we've been looking for
It could be, or if it's Sam Brown.
Or if it's Sam Brown.
If we have some evidence that Sam Brown did in fact have it.
Sam Brown, all of his stuff is
if
gotten rid of, right?
Well,
Sam Brown is Kurt.
Well,
you could have
You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have any information we can get.
We can check Horatio's grave. That was one of the things. Maybe Sam Brown's buried there.
Maybe he's visiting it. I don't know. Sam Brown's also the one that had an 8-year discrepancy on his death.
Exactly.
Yeah. So he could have taken someone's identity.
I'm saying we're looking for this guy that we can't find, and then we have a guy we don't know where he came from.
Well, let's check this database first, right?
Yeah, if we do this, we have to go to headquarters.
Okay.
We're going to be going into overtime here for sure, too. So
Yeah.
might as well spend a little bit of overtime, and then tomorrow's our last day, right?
Tomorrow's the last day.
This is 101. This is going to be 3 hours.
Dang. Okay. So 2
Stress
hours of
tokens are in
overtime.
the board. in the thing.
All right, this is 101
Okay.
at headquarters. 3 hours. We already did, right? So You spend another hour in front of the computer checking all available databases. A cell phone in your hand, a laptop with a dozen open tabs on your desk, and 2 desktop towers on nearby desks, hand-wired into the Interrogating system, crunching data. You're spent. You made a couple of calls to people higher up in the hierarchy and sent out countless emails. 3 cups of coffee, 2 cigarettes later, you still have nothing. Zilch. You reach an impasse. Procedure 170-something. What does that even mean? Suddenly the telephone rings. It's Ann Bishop from Delaware's office on the top floor. She says you've received a fax from a military archive of Defender's Department in St. Louis, which you hurried to retrieve. So we have a fax that says military archive of records of the Defense Department. The fingerprints marked on your DPT as SDC. I think we already entered these, but we can make sure, Rick. As C3U224. Yeah, is it right there? Already typed in. -6346UB. Are not found in the Department of Defense database. Regards, General Henry Brown. P.S. Please fix the glitch causing your system to seek out non-existent files. You come back, toss the fax on your desk, and sit at the computer. You light up another cigarette and read the message one more time. You just can't believe it. And you can try to explain the situation with the computer screen thing.
General Henry Brown. Is that the son or relative of Samuel Brown?
General Henry Brown.
Henry Giles Brown. No personal data found. So we'd have to spend another computer token.
Yeah. Doesn't take any hours, but it would take a computer token.
Yeah, which when they have 3 star tokens left, we could go to field work and get that one.
I mean, if we want to look at Virginia Veterans Cemetery and do field work there, get that token. And
That way we can do both tomorrow.
Use 1 star and 1 computer to dive into this more if we wanted to.
Is that digging up Horatio? Where was that?
There's the Virginia Veterans Cemetery field work here that we
Yeah.
have.
There was something that said dig up Horatio. I think it was on the report.
It wasn't. I don't think it was dig up Horatio. It was visit a cemetery or something.
I think it was just visit the grave.
There's an autopsy report.
Oh, okay.
And then there's
We've done that though. I'm
no,
pretty
we
sure.
didn't.
For Horatio?
No, we
We
didn't.
haven't.
There's Horatio's Dawson's grave, 131, which is this one here, the Virginia Veterans Cemetery. Same one.
Well, whatever we should do tomorrow.
Yeah.
Before we
Tomorrow's gonna be our last day.
burn any
Yeah.
more candles.
We've got not a whole lot of time left. Okay.
So let's go to tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go tomorrow.
Alrighty.
Day 4, 8 a.m.
This is our last day, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Last day.
So we might as well just go until we get all the stress tokens.
Until we
Yep.
get 6 of them.
Yeah.
Is it 6 or 7?
I mean, we'll lose the game.
7, we
regardless,
lose
so-
the game.
Well-
so
Well, 7, we have to immediately do the quiz.
oh, okay.
Okay.
But
But it's gonna be the same outcome then,
we
right?
get a negative 1 point for every stress token.
Sure.
Oh, do we? Oh.
Okay.
Well, damn, I didn't know that.
Okay.
So do we want to go to the field work at the Virginia Cemetery?
I mean, that's 2 things pointing to the cemetery.
Yeah.
Plus,
let's
we get
go
a
to the
computer
cemetery.
token.
All right.
So last day.
All right.
Let's go do field work. We'll get a computer token thing.
Take an hour to get there.
Yeah. We'll do 131.
Takes
Eric,
an hour
what's
to
your
get
power
anywhere.
thing do?
Whenever we write a report, which I've we don't
Refreshes
do that.
star tokens. It takes an hour, but it'll get us 2 authority tokens.
But we've never written a report.
We've
I was just
never
wondering what-
needed
No,
to
it's
really.
just
We haven't
if
run
we
out of
needed
star
more
tokens.
to feed Calvin's ability.
Yeah.
All right. Field work. The military portion of the cemetery is clearly. Oh, this is 2 hours, by the way.
Okay.
Is clearly well cared for. The grass is being regularly trimmed, and in the central point of the quarter stands a tall white flagpole with a billowing American flag. On the freshly cut grass, you can clearly see wheel tracks, like those of a garden cart or a wheelchair. Dawson's grave is decorated with a wreath that is slightly wilted, Certainly from the anniversary of his death, a candle is burning next to it. On the gravestone, in addition to the usual dates, there's a strange inscription. This is my last distinction. Then we will be together. In the cemetery office, you learn that Dawson's grave is anonymously paid for once a year via bank transfer. You can try to track it back, but it will take some time.
This is Dawson's grave?
I thought is this Horatio Dawson?
Oh,
Horatio Dawson. Yeah.
This is the victim in the robbery.
Right. So we can trace back. Does it require any tokens?
All right, so right now we can check surveillance footage with a magnifying glass if we have one.
We don't.
And then future or further leads, we can track the source of payment for Horatio Dawson's grave by spinning 2 stars from the token pool and add a plot card 112 to case 4.
Okay.
I don't know what that does. Is that like a future case
Yeah.
that we do?
Yeah.
So it doesn't have anything to do with this case then?
No.
Well, dang.
But it would make it easier to solve future cases if we were doing really well or really badly.
There's like a bigger picture that connects all these cases, and it helps fill in that.
Okay.
We
So
can check the surveillance footage to see who's been visiting his grave,
it said wheelchair tracks.
which is our
Who's-
boss.
Yeah. I mean, most likely that Occam's razor, that's who we know,
Yeah.
has a wheelchair. What's his name again?
I don't remember.
It says it in the intro.
Delaware.
So what options do we have? What should we do?
We haven't interrogated the auction house owners. It seems a little late for that, maybe, but so I feel like we don't have anything tying this to the Nazi. Is the big thing we haven't found.
Which is our goal, right?
Well,
Uh,
we need to we need to connect.
We need to take
between
the
the
watch
Nazi
from
and-
Poland to the Ying auction house.
Yeah. In all the stages of its ownership.
So we have circumstantial evidence leading it to Poland in that they were in the military during World War II. They both had operations in Germany. But what we really need is a fingerprint on that watch from the Nazi.
Well,
That would have been really nice. That'd been real good. It's never that easy. Damn it.
you need to slow down. Going through 2 packs a day.
Used to be worse.
Is there anything else?
I mean, we can look at the surveillance footage if we want to do that.
I mean, the 2 operations that Horatio were involved with.
I mean, if the Nazi is still alive, he would probably be in a wheelchair.
I doubt he's alive, right? He'd be so old.
He would be very old.
But I mean,
But
yeah.
I'm just saying that the 2 operations that we know Horatio was involved with was in Sicily and I believe in France. So not anywhere around Poland.
Well, no, but a Nazi soldier could have stolen it and kept it on him as his pocket watch. Because it's like the watch was all scratched and
Yeah.
battered.
It was
Like
well
it,
used.
I don't know. I feel like everything that we try to do doesn't lead anywhere. So I don't know where to go next.
Yeah. I mean, we need to do something, though, to solve this pocket watch thing because we're running out of time.
yeah.
No.
What?
No.
What? What do you mean, no?
No.
We're running out of time. It's pocket watch. Come on. If anything, that's the best one we've had.
No.
All right. So what do we do now?
Well,
Are we the auction house owners or
what other leads
Or
do we
the
have?
security tape?
surveillance? Do we have anything else?
Information on Weber and Son, which is lawyers. Is there any reason that would be helpful?
Give me those.
They're the lawyers.
I was about to go through all the things we could go to, Rick.
Rupert Owens.
I mean, yeah, they're the lawyers of Rupert Owens, who's the least suspicious person here, even other than the fact that he had the watch.
Weber.
He was just a junkie that found a watch under his house.
We can consult a forensic psychologist.
So there's that. We already did the field work at the cemetery,
Yeah.
so that one's done. We could try to explain this situation here with this. The facts that we got. Maybe it'd give us information on Something. Maybe it won't. I don't know.
We can check out Horatio's autopsy report
How would that help?
because it's actually the colonel.
Like it's not Dawson at all.
Maybe.
It's someone else.
It's possible, I guess.
What's that one again?
This is the facts from the DoD.
Oh, the facts. Okay.
Just the facts.
Some sort of government cover-up.
Either that or the fingerprint that he was involved with is
Because he's such a war hero, they don't want to blemish his name or something. That's why
or
they
he
locked
was
down
just
his record.
involved in covert operations, and some of it is still classified, or his current condition is classified. Like I don't know why. It could be an active military investigation. I don't know. Maybe that's why there's a discrepancy on his date of death.
I mean, most of the leads we have followed up on.
We're gonna need.
There's
to
only
pick.
what's on there that we haven't done,
Which is Horatio's autopsy report and consulting a forensic psychologist.
and then we have
Look
take
at
the bill for the fingerprint research from the watch thing. I don't know if that would help having a fingerprint from that, unless it matches the watch, and that's. But
Yeah.
why would that be the case? You know what I mean?
And then we can look at the surveillance footage.
We can look at the surveillance footage here at the
Cemetery.
cemetery. We can. I mean, we never pressed Owens further. We could do that. We never talked to the widow. We could do that. We could also check information from the Weber and Son lawyer. I don't know if that would help at all, unless there's information they have on Marcus, the father, that somehow we can utilize. And then we can visit the police station and talk about Michael Slater's past
Like his cases
and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, nothing stands out as definitely that one. So,
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
I mean, anything focusing on this victim here and where he got that watch. Like, I don't think the lawyer thing is anything.
I mean, I'm curious about the autopsy report, but I don't know that that's going to give us anything.
And where's the autopsy report done at?
Richmond PD.
Damn.
Card 117. Consulting forensic psychologist courthouse 110.
It's like a choose your own adventure book from Goosebumps.
Except I don't get the story. Let's. I don't know. We gotta pick one.
Do you want to dig into the military block?
We could. We'd need a computer token for that. And another star token to do that from, right?
Where is
With
that?
your power.
Where'd that go?
It's
You have
right
it?
here. Yep. I think
I
so.
say we try that.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, computer and
A star.
a star.
Toss it in there. You put out the cigarette. You read the document again. Confusion hits you. You know the procedure. No one from the Department of Defense sends out faxes, even if the data is no longer confidential. Who replies by fax in this day and age? General Brown answered in a way that avoided the official servers. Why? What's with SD C3U224? The fingerprints. You don't know what's reeking, but you know that stench is pure trouble. Add one red token to the token pool. Add plot card 123 to case 4.
Darn.
That sucks.
It's ridiculous how little overtime we're allowed to do on this case.
I mean, it is a cold case.
Yeah, but still. Cold cases are about putting in the overtime.
How much time we got left?
I mean,
It's
1,
11
2,
o'clock
3,
now.
4, 5 hours before overtime.
What else we got?
We can do 8 hours with 3 more hours of overtime, basically.
Yeah.
I really am not sure.
What leads do we have on the... Is that the only thing?
We can check surveillance.
Let's do it.
All right.
right.
It's gonna need to be It's gonna need to be a Joker thing or something. Do we have a Joker card?
No, we don't.
We'd have to use our last two.
Let's do it.
All right.
Grasping at straws.
You go to the cemetery office. It is a low white building with several windows containing flower pots on the sills. In front of the building, there's an information board with a lot of notes. You eye it for a moment. Nothing interesting, just announcements about grave care, flower delivery, and candles. The building is quiet, has stone floor, and is pleasantly cool. In the room with the tag management, there's a young man, no more than 25 years old. Maybe that's why you had no issue getting access to the cameras that monitor the cemetery. You can see that the kid is very excited about your case. The surveillance footage is recorded on a monthly basis and stored on a server. Interestingly, the record of Dawson's death anniversary is damaged. Ineptly, as if someone wanted to look like a glitch. When someone has watched as many surveillance videos as you have, you won't be fooled so easily. Further cracking the computer security of the cemetery office is a piece of cake for any hacker, except for the investigators and cemetery staff. No one seemed to have visited the grave within the last month. Unfortunately, the monitoring cameras do not cover the surrounding trees.
Who lit the candle?
We don't know. Again, we got nothing.
I feel like I just don't got anything.
I mean, I got my general. I feel like this is what happened.
Yeah.
I just don't have
Yeah.
the evidence
Let's
to
check
back it
the
up.
autopsy
prove it.
report.
All right,
117.
we've got nothing else. Let's move us to the PD.
PD. An hour. Card 117.
I mean, we ain't got nothing else, I guess, really, except for go to talk to lawyers. You go through the staff entrance. You pass. Oh, it's 1 hour, by the way. That's not too bad. Only 1 hour more.
Yeah.
117 Richmond PD. You go through the staff entrance. You pass 2 policemen from the traffic department who are leaving the station while verbally assaulting a group of cuffed women being guided down the corridor to their cells. The girls do not hold back and repay the favor. The corridor turns into a cacophony of insults and curses. You try to simply walk by the group, but they struggle with the policeman leading them. Suddenly, one of the girls, hurling curses, breaks free and jumps towards the exit, chasing after the 2 policemen who have already left for the parking lot. You react instinctively. You catch her halfway and press her up to the wall. Holding her, you call out for someone to take care of this mess. The rest of the women react wildly to the scene and just unfold, and the corridor is chaotic for a few minutes. You retreat, pushing brutally through to take the corridor towards the archive. Behind you, you can hear insults being screeched at you. You approach the service window. You are lucky that Susie is on the job now. She is the favorite of the entire police station. With her, the job always gets done. The documents were already waiting for you. You fill out the application form to respect the procedure and take the files. A pleasant surprise. Post-mortem autopsy report, Horatio Dawson, date examination June 15th, 67. Body of a man, age 42, weight 192, height 5'11", blood type A. Fingerprints, which we already have for him, I believe, which is YU3456, SD, of course.
Yeah.
BHUY82.
Yep. We got those.
Yeah.
Internal organ condition unchanged. Alcohol and intoxicating substances in body not found. Autopsy. Oval bruise on the right calf just below the knee. Bruises and numerous abrasions on the face and on the left side of the neck. 1-inch bruise above right temple. Bruises and longitudinal abrasions as a result of collision with a cuboid object. Most likely the thing that was bent in on the steps, right?
Or that, yeah.
Wood splinters found in the wounds. The disc is separated, left shoulder twisted and cracked. Extensive trauma to the cervical segment, shifting of the 5th vertebrae, disruption of nervous system, likely as a result of a fall from a height.
From the stairs.
So somebody hit him in the back of the head or
I mean, they had
in the neck.
quite a fight before he went down
Yeah.
the stairs.
Yeah.
Further leads are consultation and court pathologist Howard Pine analysis of the autopsy report at the courthouse.
Doesn't really tell us anything that we didn't know.
There was a broken glass underneath the drawers of the desk,
Mm-hmm.
but there wasn't any alcohol or anything found in his system. So was he meeting with someone?
Well, keep in mind, too, also that glass was wiped clean of fingerprints.
Yeah.
So even if he used it to get a drink, why would he wipe it clean?
Yeah. This was the cleaning lady.
Unless someone came in to meet with him He left. He went to go the eve of his death.
Yeah.
Which he got all of his savings too.
Yeah.
And that was never recovered.
I mean, if someone came to meet with him, he went trying to get as much money as he could coming back, and then someone killed him, and Giles got the blame for it somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's true, though.
Okay, where else can we go from here?
Damn.
We can try our final report,
Too old for this shit.
or we can consult a forensic psychologist.
I don't think that's going to help us.
Help us either.
I think we're better off talking to, like, the widow or something, maybe, or I don't know.
The auction.
Maybe. I mean,
We could
I
try
don't
talking to
even
them,
think
yeah.
they are going to help us, but I think it might be more of a lead than the...
Well, the things I thought would help us hadn't at all. So maybe let's
Yeah.
go to the thing that we don't think will help us at all. Maybe it will.
I mean, that's the only thing we haven't done on further leads. Of
From the
initial.
get-go.
Let's do it. And then
Where's
all
that
right.
at? Field
Field
work?
work. So that'll take an hour, and then 119.
Field work 119, 3 hours.
Jeez.
Yeah, it might be the last thing. The auction house is relatively close. Although the radio has announced that all Richmond is completely congested, you manage to avoid the traffic jams. The office is located in an old building. Once there, you find an elderly couple. They have been married for 50 years and in the same business the whole time. Mrs. Ying offers you cookies while Mr. Ying pours everyone a shot of brandy. Thank you. They both came here from China as kids and earned everything they have on their own. Mr. Ying testifies that they offered Owens much more for the watch, provided that he would give them some time to get an expert opinion and find funds. The seller was not interested. He wanted money right away, in cash. They gave him everything they had on hand. They notified the police themselves when they discovered what they came across. We can press the Yings further with a ... comic-looking
Which we
thing.
have. Might as well.
Sure, let's do it.
They've been running the business for so many years that they have to know something. They just bought a precious gold watch from a street bum, and only after they got scared did they report it. Didn't it seem suspicious from the start? You point out to them that their story has some holes. They wanted easy money, and then started thinking post factum. After a while, Mr. Ying admits that that's exactly how it was, and regrets his decision on the purchase. From the beginning, he suspected that Owens had stolen the watch. In his defense, Ying says someone from the local press visited them sniffing around the story. Probably some journalist that got tipped off by someone from the precinct where they reported the case. But for the sake of the investigation, Ying did not want to talk to him. Delaware was right. In the end, the case will come to light, but you still have to be careful about who knows what. You make the promise that they will not speak to the press so that at least one way for the scandal to leak is prevented. And that's all we got.
Okay.
No
Which
leads,
is
no nothing.
nothing.
Let's do this final report.
Let's do it.
All right.
Write a report action. We can add 2 more to the pool.
It's not the same. It's a final report. This is the
It's a
quiz thing,
report.
right?
All right. Case number 1, a man with a golden watch. Final report. During the investigation, our team has determined that Rupert Owens found the watch beneath the floorboards of the porch of his family home. Rupert Owens got the watch from his mother. Rupert Owens bought the watch in a pawn shop. We don't know where Rupert Owens got the watch.
Much as we know, he got it where he said he got it.
Oh, yeah. So it's a question.
Yes, this is a question. I don't know. You clicked and you scared me, Rick, 'cause that's not the one I wanted to go with.
No.
Yeah, I mean, floorboards make sense. That's what we have
Yeah.
him telling. We
Yeah.
thought there
Yeah.
might have been mild lies, which it could have made sense he got it from his mother, but I guess we don't know that.
Yep.
So under the floorboards?
Yeah.
Sure.
That's what we've been going with, and that was his dad.
We have also concluded that Marcus Owens, the father of Rupert Owens, was the previous owner of the watch, which he bought from Horatio Dawson. He stole from Dawson's house. He got from Henry Giles in exchange for silence. We don't know how he got it.
I guess the assumption that he bought it from Horatio
Yeah.
with that receipt that we have.
Which we verified.
At some point, the watch was in possession of Horatio Dawson. We are certain that he brought it back as a memento of his campaign in Europe. He received it as a bribe while stationed at Brenner Pass. He received it as a thank you for saving a life during a shooting in Sicily. We don't know how he got it.
Dang it.
Damn.
We could just say one
Wait,
of those
where's
things.
Brenner Pass?
Brenner Pass?
I thought you would Google it.
I mean, we
No,
don't know
that
how
was
he got
that was involved in Operation Undertone.
I mean, we'd rather be honest than incorrect.
How could we
so
have found this?
I don't know.
I mean, this is what we were looking for.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the exact kind of information we were trying to find. And everywhere we went, they were like, no, nothing.
Yeah, spend something. You and then you spend it like nothing. now you can't spend
Yeah.
anything.
So we don't know how he got it, right?
We
Yeah,
don't know how
all
I
right.
got it.
Damn it. As for where Kurtz Blues got the watch, our team was able to determine that
Damn it.
he stole it from one of his patients. He stole it from the museum in Posen. He received it as payment for sparing the life of a rich Jewish prisoner. We don't know how he got it.
We don't know.
We don't know how I got it.
Golly.
Damn it.
That's what we were looking for.
Yeah.
I know. What did we miss? Additional questions. Those findings conclude our investigation in the matter of the Golden Watch. Delaware sends you an email with some additional questions. During your investigation, were you able to acquire additional knowledge concerning Mr. Dawson? There are certain details of his death that remain questionable. In fact, that whole robbery seems suspicious.
Yeah.
I would like to ask you some additional questions about that. First of all, are you able to determine with absolute certainty who killed Horatio Dawson's? Was it Henry Giles,
It was Henry Giles.
Marcus Owens, none of the above, or we don't know?
I mean, Henry Giles' fingerprints were all over the place.
I mean, it might not have been him who killed him, though.
I'm going to say we don't know.
Yeah, we don't
We,
know.
we didn't dive into it
It
enough.
could have been Michael Slater.
I don't think Giles did it.
I don't think he did either. It just seems way too convenient that he was killed during the arrest the next day.
I know. I would not say with absolute certainty that I know. I don't know. Would you?
No.
You? No. You?
We don't know.
Man, this
I mean,
is
if
terrible.
forced to pick one that wasn't, we don't know, I would pick Henry Giles, but we
I,
don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, but without
I would.
absolute
I feel like
certainty.
if I was gonna pick one that wasn't that, I would pick none of the above.
yeah.
Because I don't think it was Marcus, but for some reason I don't feel like it was Giles either. But his fingerprints were there.
We
but-
don't know.
And from what I can see in Mr. Dawson's file, he was a soldier in the 7th Army. Do you know about any officer that might have been involved with Dawson?
Brown.
Colonel Samuel Brown,
Yeah.
Wait, Sergeant Michael Slater. Damn.
Sergeant Michael Slater.
Fuck. I wonder if that's real. Okay.
Where's...
It
Can we
seems,
have a picture of Slater? Do we have a picture?
I do. I don't think I can
Don't
check
worry
now.
about it now.
though.
Let's just finish this.
It seems that Horatio Dawson needed a lot of money. I would like to know if you have determined what it might have been used for.
We don't know.
To help a female patient, to pay a court fine, to travel the world. We don't know.
We don't know.
We got 23 out of 42,
Great job.
which is a great job.
What?
Final report. Oh, and how many stress tokens did we get?
5.
Damn.
5.
4.
4.
Huh?
4.
Oh, I thought...
No, you crazy
No,
asshole.
Jesus.
He's trying to sabotage us. You killed him.
Final report points 12 out of 24, so half. Additional questions 2 out of 6. Matching evidence 9 of 12. So we got almost all the evidence.
Yeah.
Final score 19 out of 42.
Show the thing, Rick.
You did almost great.
You did almost great.
It is an American company. Case solved.
It's not.
I don't feel like it was Saul.
I would like to know how we could have
So,
gotten to any of
well, at this point, we could play the thing again,
Sure.
or we can close the case, which allows us to read the epilogue and the final
that.
breakdown.
Close the case.
Okay. All right. You've finished your job for the time being. Before heading to the nearest pub for dinner, the whole team meets with Delaware in his office. Thank you very much for completing your investigation. Make no mistake, this was an important case. He smiles briefly and points to the screen. I read your report. I've also done a little bit of my own research. Let me point out some things I find particularly interesting. First of all, Mr. Owens, Jr. It seems that you were right about that. He found the watch underneath the floorboards on the porch of the family home. It seems his father hid the watch there. Rupert Owens is a small fish, local swindler who needed the money, so he sold the watch to the auction house. Your investigation has determined that the previous owner was his father. You believe that he bought it from Horatio Dawson. I tend to agree with that assessment. I believe Horatio Dawson was in dire need of money. He tried to
Yeah.
sell his valuables to Marcus Owens, including the watch. That tipped Henry Giles to rob his house. Now Mr. Dawson makes this case really interesting. He seems like an important piece of the puzzle. You were unable to determine how he got the watch. Let me share with you what I think. While he was probably an honest guy and a good soldier, Horatio Dawson was most likely pressured by his fellow soldiers to take a bribe from a rich German who wanted a safe passage through the checkpoint at Brenner Pass. That rich German had to be Kurt Bluetz himself, escaping Europe under a fictional name. So that brings us to the last piece of the puzzle. How did Kurt get the watch? I'm sorry to hear that you didn't remember my briefing. I specifically stated that the watch was robbed from the Museum of the Land in Posen.
Yeah.
It must have been Bluetz. During his escape, he used it exactly as he intended, to secure himself safe passage through Allied checkpoints. Well done, detectives. I believe your report is sufficient for our administration to explain to the Polish government how the watch was stolen from them during World War II and how it ended up in the U.S. You can be proud of yourselves. The very first terrorist investigation is a success.
Well, darn it.
I suppose maybe.
Why did he ask us a question that he already told us the answer to?
I guess, I don't know.
Just to fuck with us?
I just assumed
That's-
that because we didn't get to the third or fourth thing, the fifth, sixth thing. We didn't fucking know that either.
Well, I mean, that was like the first thing he told us. It was stolen from the
Yeah.
land
I guess
museum.
maybe if we went after the widow, she could have told us some of these things about where his mindset was the day before he was killed. I don't know.
Well, that was Slater, though. That was Dawson.
Slater's
That
widow.
wouldn't have helped us much.
Well,
Dawson didn't
I don't
have
know
a
where
widow.
we could have gotten to, the whole bribe thing. Personally. But anyway, yeah. I mean, it says case solved and good job. I just feel like we failed
We-
that one.
Did not
I mean,
do
most of what
well.
I had was correct
Yeah.
in my general thing, except
Yeah.
for Sam Brown seems to not really be involved with it at all. That was kind of just there.
Although it
Um,
is suspicious that during the investigation, someone outside of the channels of the Defense Department decided to respond and kind of cut us off in our
Yeah, and
tracks.
what's all that about?
Yeah, I didn't like that because there was another fingerprint on there. That must have been the Nazis, I
And-
guess. Maybe it was a cover up for the Nazis' fingerprint because there's no one else
I don't
that
know.
would have touched the watch that
Maybe.
we know of.
But why
Um,
wouldn't someone want us to know that?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Who's in the
I mean,
wheelchair?
it's very suspicious that the guy who was cutting us off in our tracks last name was Brown, and the guy who was involved with Horatio, his last name was Brown, and his date of his death is not correct. There was discrepancies there.
That could be
did he
I mean,
change
that
his
stuff-
identity?
That stuff could be the stuff that connects all the cases.
Yeah,
when you're playing
it
the
could
larger
be.
game. But
It's
Anyway.
supremely unsatisfying.
yep.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Game Night. That was Detective, a modern crime board game.
Yep.
Gave it our best shot. We succeeded,
We
Kind
did.
of.
not to our high
Kind.
standards.
Yeah.
No. Nope.
I wanted
Thanks,
to know
guys, for
everything.
joining us.
Too long.
We'll see you next time. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Game Night. If you want to see more, you can at patreon.com/blindwave. Check out early access. Subscribe. Check out everything that we do. It's so much. Our first case, technically a success, but it sure doesn't feel like it.